Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so as I uploaded the previous video, I was actually getting ready for the stream, so I did it in a bit of a rush. But as soon as I had started my stream, I heard some people saying that the buff information is out already as well, from exactly the same source that has always pretty much given us an accurate buff information, and this source in particular has never been wrong so far. So here we go. We do not know, as far as I'm aware, who is going to be getting the value buff, but we do know that King Groot and Overhaul, well, Venompool is going to be more than likely the champions that are gonna get buffed. So Venompool is Overhaul, King Groot is a buff according to this source. And again, this is not official, it has not been confirmed by Kabam, but at the same time, this source in particular has not been wrong to date. Right, so let's quickly just jump in the game and check out. So we have King Groot and Venompool, both of whom are Cosmic Champions, which I think is quite a great thing, because Cosmic class definitely does need some substantial help. And this could potentially be it, maybe, don't know. We have had definitely some very good buffs and overhauls recently, and well, throughout, to be honest, like, I think buffs and overhauls are much more interesting for majority of the player base right now than new champion releases, because let's face it, majority of the champions this year has been borderline acceptable, mediocre, obviously with a couple of exceptions, but there's plenty of duds. However, a lot of buffs are in fact becoming significant pieces of metagame. So let's take a look. I actually need to check which champions I do have myself. So very good. King Groot, I do have duped. So that's quite awesome. I do have duped King Groot. And I think King Groot was a bit of a surprise to see here, because a lot of people kind of like him the way he is. Nobody's ever going to deny that King Groot is not a hard-hitting champion. Takes quite a while to finish his fights, and that alone is enough for a lot of people just never to consider looking into his direction. But truthfully, he has gotten some relatively decent synergies, which we can check out in a second, and his regeneration can be an absolute insanity. Right, so let's quickly take a look at King Groot here in Aunt May. I'm going to bring it up in front of you in a second, because if he gets a substantial buff, then it is also quite likely that a lot of his synergies are going to end up changed to a degree based on the buff. We know that Man-Thing has been giving him quite a lot of support with giving 2 additional Furies. Then we have Immortal Kings with Immortal Abomination. This is probably the most important synergy. There's also another one quite important with Sasquatch, I guess, starting with extra 3 Furies. In general, they are all here. Actually, I thought he has more than that, but still. So King Groot is going to be a champion that does get buffed, so it's kind of like a Bishop level change that we saw previously, or Ultron level change. So it's not going to be completely different champion, so he's more than likely still going to be based around poison, based around healing, be super tanky, but it's quite obvious to pretty much everybody at this point that I think, well, he needs damage. If a champion like this does get significant amount of damage, then I do think in a class that in general lacks utility, he might potentially be very significant champion with his bleed immunity, ability to shrug up debuffs like nobody's business, access to poison, and that insane sustainability. If he does not get things taken away from him, let's say like Civil Warrior did, which is something that I hope Kabam has moved away from, but he gets just stuff improved upon, then I'm actually quite excited for King Groot. I genuinely am. I think he could be a very potent champion. And the second buff is, I don't even know, I don't think I have that champion. Yeah, Venompool. I do not have Venompool as a 6-star. I will have him as a 5-star. But Venompool is also quite an interesting champion. Now, here is going to be a lot harder to predict what we're going to see at end of the day, looking at Venompool, because he gets complete overhaul. He doesn't have many abilities to begin with right now, and it's going to be a completely different champion. But again, it is, however, logically thinking, quite a good pick in between both of them, to be honest, because both of them are extra large champions, so they're good for variant 2. In case of Venompool, he is also a symbiote that is relatively required tank these days that will help for variant 5 as well. And yeah, I kind of want to see what's going to happen with the guy. Now, again, this is not a guaranteed piece of information. Take everything with a grain of salt. Kabam has not announced these changes, but Venompool will more than likely be completely different champion from what we know him to be now. And also on top of that, we have no idea about the value-only buff, and some of the value-only buffs are extremely underwhelming, and some of them can be potentially amazing. So it's not like it's irrelevant piece of information. Plenty of times value-only buffs are the ones that are actually the most desirable after the changes, like with Angela, with Mr. Fantastic, with Mole Man, so on and so forth. Coming back to Venompool, I actually thought I did have him as a 6-star, but hey, guess I'm wrong, so it means I'm gonna have hopefully one more champion to grind in the arena, which was kind of strange that this time around we did not get that selector arena for Diablo, for Bishop, and for Ronin. Well, at least not yet. In general, the symbiote, so far he pretty much has what bleed, ability to steal a buff, and ability to generate some random buffs that do not do too much. So he is legitimately one of the worst champions in the game. So I'm kind of happy from that aspect. Again, that being said, I cannot express that every passing month, I personally am getting slightly more and more annoyed that we're not getting our OG Avengers buffed, that Superior Iron Man is not getting buffed, that Miles Morales buff is still not here, so on and so forth. So once again, I would have never in a million years guessed these two champions to be the ones getting the buffs, and they definitely would not have been the ones that I pick personally. But that does not change the fact that both of them could potentially be extremely amazing additions to anybody's roster, especially if you already have them, right? Like Diablo. I would not have picked Diablo for a buff. I don't like the fact that he got buffed over, let's say, Hulk or Superior Iron Man or something. But at the same time, he is freaking amazing right now, and he is quite likely to be one of my next rank ups in the near future, going up to rank 3. So regardless what I think about the choices, it does not take away from the potential that these champions now have. But that is about it. Again, we'll have to sit tight and see which champion is going to get the value update buff. Hopefully, starting next week, Kabam starts slowly teasing the abilities of these newly buffed champions, like they did last month. I actually enjoyed that way, that we got some new piece of information every week to talk about. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think. Are you happy and excited about Venompool and King Groot buff? Or you are not overly interested? I don't know. Again, I would not have picked these champions, but at the same time, I am quite excited because they're both cosmic, they're both extra large champions, good for another variant. Venompool is a symbiote, good for plenty of events, and I think they could be very good and interesting, but only time will tell. That is it for now, and I will catch you guys soon. See ya! Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about